All right, let's get right into this explainer. Today, we're objectively tearing down the structure of a modern digital morning devotional. We're going to look closely at source material from a channel called Prayer Warriors TV Studio to see exactly how it aims to set the trajectory for an entire day. It is genuinely fascinating to see how traditional spiritual practices are being packaged for digital consumption right now, creating this highly specific blueprint for morning readiness.
And honestly, the hook they use here is something we can all relate to. Think about this idea, that the very first actions of your morning completely dictate everything that follows. Whether you are obsessed with reading productivity blogs, psychology journals, or, in this case, diving into a spiritual devotional, that core premise, it's exactly the same. The source takes this universally understood concept of morning momentum and uses it as the launching pad for its specific spiritual routine.
Moving right into Section 1, Shaping Your Morning, which gives us a structured framework for mental and spiritual preparation.
Now consider the incredibly sharp contrast at the very heart of this routine. The source explicitly calls out those ordinary, super mundane places we all go, heading to work, commuting to school, running a business, or even just needing a fresh start. But here is the twist. It pairs those boring, everyday commutes with a list of intense, supernatural invitations. It's asking the participant to actively inject things like divine wisdom, perfect peace, supernatural favor, and breakthrough right into those completely standard environments. It basically frames your everyday commute as a spiritual deployment.
So, what does it actually mean to command your day in this context? Well, this isn't about just sitting back passively and hoping for a good Tuesday. No way. It is a highly active, assertive process. Just listen to the strong action verbs they use. You're declaring authority. You're seeking protection, receiving strength, and inviting breakthrough. The devotional frames this as taking total charge of the day's narrative before you've even grabbed your keys and walked out the front door. It's an entirely proactive posture rather than a reactive one.
All right, on to Section 2, Anatomy of the Prayer, where we look at the actual methodology behind the routine. Let's dig into the specific 6-step formula they lay out. It really is a sequential blueprint for getting your mind and spirit ready, and the flow is super logical. Step 1 is surrender, committing the day. Step 2 goes on defense, asking for divine protection and guidance. Then, Step 3 flips to the offensive, actively declaring victory over obstacles. Step 4 is receptive, taking in that peace and wisdom. Step 5 reinforces everything by strengthening faith through biblical promises. And finally, Step 6 is the execution phase, walking confidently in that purpose. The source structures this less like a simple prayer and way more like a comprehensive, daily checklist that requires active mental participation at every single stage.
But here's the catch. Just saying the words for those 6 steps isn't the whole picture. While performing this routine, the text insists that you need a very specific internal belief system running in the background. You're instructed to genuinely believe that things are already happening ahead of time, that obstacles are actively being removed right now, new doors are already opening, and enemy plans are being completely crushed before they even happen. You essentially have to mentally step into a space where the victory is an absolute done deal before your day has even truly begun.
Which brings us to Section 3, the biblical foundation, exploring the scriptural anchors of the practice.
This part is fascinating because they don't just throw these spiritual ideas out into a vacuum. They explicitly map chosen Bible verses right onto the intended outcomes of the prayer, anchoring that entire 6-step checklist we just talked about in Scripture. For morning devotion, they point straight to Psalm 5:3. For guidance, it's Proverbs 3:5 and 6. Protection gets the classic Psalm 91. Strength and victory are tied to Philippians 4:13. And for fresh starts, Lamentations 3:22-23. It perfectly illustrates how the source builds a foundational architecture, using these exact verses as pillars to back up their claims of daily supernatural intervention.
Let's roll into Section 4, Building a Digital Community, translating this solitary routine into a shared experience.
And this is where we really see the modern evolution of faith practices. Prayer Warriors TV Studio takes what is usually a completely solitary morning ritual and turns it into community action using, of all things, standard digital algorithms. Think about it. The typical YouTube growth tools like liking, subscribing, hitting that notification bell, sharing, and commenting are seamlessly woven into the spiritual practice itself. Subscribing becomes a way to ensure you get your daily spiritual armor. Dropping a comment transforms into this act of digital fellowship, passing your prayer request to a massive, interconnected, unseen congregation. It is just such an interesting blend of ancient ritual and modern engagement metrics.
Ultimately, they frame their daily content as way more than just consumable media. They present these videos as recurring, daily opportunities for spiritual victory. By branding every single morning as a brand new chance to experience this presence and unfailing love, they're creating a really powerful habit loop. You're not just passively watching a screen. According to the text, you're actively participating in a vital daily reset alongside the entire Prayer Warriors TV studio family.
So we've walked through how this specific channel constructs a highly intentional, super proactive morning blueprint based on biblical texts. But honestly, regardless of your personal beliefs or whether your own morning routine relies on ancient scriptures or literally just a strong cup of coffee and a sticky note to-do list, this source leaves us with an incredible, universal question to reflect on. So I'll leave you with this. How intentional are you being with the very first moments of your morning? Are you out there actively setting the trajectory for the hours ahead, or are you just letting the day happen to you? Definitely something to chew on before your alarm goes off tomorrow.